Well, Dave, where do you start to analyse a performance like that? You've gone from your best performance a week ago to your worst performance in the league so far. Where do you even start with it?
Yeah, listen, difficult one. I suppose what it does do is give you an understanding of where we're at, and what we need to do. Second best all over the pitch. Be clear against a good team. I knew it would be a tough game. I thought it would be a good gauge of where we're at. Do you expect that performance? No, absolutely not. But if, as a consequence, that performance changes behaviours around us understanding what we need to do and where we need to improve, then there potentially can be a positive out of it. There's certainly no feeling of a positive at the minute. And be clear, we're probably lucky it was 5 and not more than that, because goals can change games and goals can change players' mindsets and all that sort of thing, and we can see horrific goals. But that still, for me, doesn't take away that you need to dig in. You need to, at that point, get round each other and be solid citizens about how you go about it. I don't think we were that, and that's what has to, like I say, that what has to change. That's the biggest disappointment. Forget the fact we've lost the game in the manner that we have. That's the biggest disappointment for me.
Do you think there's almost has to be an acceptance that we are going to be inconsistent with a much younger team and with perhaps the lack of experience perhaps at this level?
I don't think an acceptance, that would be probably the wrong word, because I'm certainly not going to accept that. That'd be very clear. And if the players are thinking or have a thought process that what I've just seen and what other people have seen is acceptable, then that's far from the truth. What I would say is it shows what we need to do, and we need to be miles better at what we're trying to do. We need to be miles more robust. We need to be miles stronger, because you can have a game where technically you're off it and your passing might be rubbish and your touch might be rubbish and all them bits, but you need to be able to compete and you need to be able to deal with what's thrown at you, and you need to be able to counter punch a little bit. We didn't do any of that, and that, like I say, that's the bits that we need to do an awful lot better from. We have to impose what we're trying to do on the game, and if you can't do that, then unfortunately I have to make decisions, and it's no good lambasting people. We have to accept what's just happened and learn from it and be better. And we'll have a really tough game in order for that to try and take place. So there will be some tests. There'll be tests of characters, and again, if you're not questioned, then you're certainly going to be. But it'll tell us an awful lot about individuals and about the group.
Obviously, it was a horror show early on, and you made 3 changes. You went to 3 at the back. Do you think you're perhaps still grappling with what system best fits this group of players, or is it perhaps more fundamental that it's about technique rather than tactics?
I know exactly what system best suits this group of players and what system I want to play. Unfortunately, the personnel that we've had missing hasn't allowed us to do that. So I know people will say, we'll be a back 4. Fine. We haven't got a natural right back to play in a back 4, and sometimes we've got through and the results have hidden the fact that that's not the system that best suits us or that I want to play. And we probably maybe get to a point. Listen, be clear, I'd love to have changed that. I'd love to have changed the game after 20 minutes. Right. But the reality of it was, I would be putting players, and I don't think it's difficult to know which players, I'd be putting players at risk if they were on for that long. We've been out for a long time, and we want to try and get them back. We have to do that safely, and so you're then almost waiting to try and make a change. In reality, you're trying to get some momentum at half time, and you want to, I suppose, get players on the pitch that we think can get us up the pitch and try and give us a bit in their half of the pitch, and maybe get people on the pitch that will cross the ball. We didn't do any of that. And listen, that's credit to Wycombe in terms of them stopping us. I thought they were really functional. The front three absolutely battered our back 4-5, whatever you want to call it, makes no difference. They mixed it, they defended really well, they dealt with balls forward. Like I say, performance-wise for them, really good. But I have to look at us and look at where we need to improve. And that doesn't take away what we were recruited for in the summer was to play in a shape that we haven't been able to play at all this season. And that sometimes that happens where and are we still in a position where you look at whether it be right-sided centre-backs, all three that we've had have had injuries, some a little bit longer term from pre-season, the same with wing-backs. So just looking at Mingy, Cal Connolly, Tyler now, Noilly, Maka, we've sort of got around it a little bit by playing players in that position. We played Will Collar there for the game, which doesn't really suit him, but it was needs must at the time. We've played Jack and Fevs at that side, but again, not really what we brought them in for. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and we've had to deal with that. That doesn't detract away from, regardless of what system you play and what your tactics are, if you don't match the person that's opposite you looking in the eye, and you don't compete, and you don't work hard, and you do the basics well, makes absolutely not a jot of difference. And that'll always be the case regardless of what level of football you're playing at.
And just finally, you've got to get out the system fairly quickly, because obviously it's a quick turnaround now. A derby game against Bolton at the weekend is a real challenge.
It's a great game. Listen, it's a great game to play in. It should be anyway. Be a great atmosphere. There's always challenges in football, and our questions going to be asked of us as a coaching staff, as players. Of course it is, but that ultimately dictates what you are as an individual, doesn't it? Again, if you're not willing to understand that football's like that, and get out of football, go and do something different. Again, if you can't deal with the scrutiny of what people will ask of you or what they'll expect you to do, then you're in the wrong industry. You've got to be really thick-skinned. You've got to be humble and have humility when things like this happened. The biggest thing you've got to do is show a bit of, I don't want to swear, but a bit of bravery and a bit of resilience to say, all right, I've been over worse things. We've spoken about this before. There's people in miles worse positions than what we are. You got to go back to sort of basics and understand who you do it for, why you do it, what you're doing it for, and ultimately what you want from it further down the line. All them things are in place, and you go and play, and maybe you are feeling a little bit low. Who's going to change it? You've got to change it. You have to show that. You've got to show that. You've got to stick your chest out and get on with it. One thing's for certain, this place will be bouncing on Saturday. And there'll be a real energy around the place. We've got to match that with what we do in our performance. And if the result doesn't go in our favour, so what? We've got to make sure that we do everything we can to give ourselves the best chance of doing that. And we know when the sort of chips have been down, we've shown it before in terms of coming back. We've been questioned before. We've been fortunate to have lots and lots of good times, and maybe not so many of these types of occasions. So there'll be a new challenge for some, but I'm up for it, and I'll make sure the players are.
I'm sure you will, Dave. Appreciate your time. Thank
Cheers,
you.
John. Thank you.
Man.